The Swift Zolian Tiger is my favorite mount in the entire game. This is the coolest looking mount ever, and it's the one mount I never got before they actually removed it from the game in actual retail. I've only seen it drop one time so far in Classic, and so I wanted to know, with my new mains moving on into Wrath of the Lich King, if it was possible for me to go in and farm it right now by myself. This means going into ZG and soloing both of the raid bosses that drop mounts as a Death Knight. This was the challenge we gave ourselves today on stream. So today I'm gonna go over all the tips and tricks, what specs you should be running, what gear you should be aiming for, and all the things you need to know so that you can go in also yourself and solo these bosses really easily. This raid has a short lockout, so you can go in there and consistently farm these bosses, especially because they buff the drop rate of a lot of the rare mounts in the game from lower than 0.1% all the way up to 1%. So you should be able to farm this pretty easily. And right before we dive in, we did just hit 30K subscribers on the YouTube channel. That means we're gonna be doing a giveaway on tomorrow's YouTube video, not today. So thank you guys so much for the support on the channel. We're going to be giving away a free Northrend Epic upgrade that I'm just going to buy for someone that comments on the video tomorrow. So tomorrow will be that giveaway. I just want to let you guys know that it's coming, and thank you so much for the support. This is absolutely insane. We're going to be doing something every 5K subscribers. So the next one is going to be a giveaway of some free merch. So of course, just make sure you subscribe to the channel, and it'll be the first iteration of the new merch that I've been working on. So you will be the first person in the world to get it. Just let me know in the description of this video what you kind of want me to make. Okay, to start off with my gear, currently I am running mostly the PvP gear and a little bit of actual leather gear. So you can see that I have things like leather boots, leather bracers, and some green items like my cloak, and none of my gear is enchanted. But I do have 4-piece Brutal Gladiator gear, and my weapon right now is Singing Crystal Axe. Just a quick tip, just go buy this because it is an amazing item to actually snapshot your gargoyle, and instead of getting manual crowd pummeler, you can actually do real DPS on the opening of a boss fight. So at level 70, this is phenomenal, but it'll also be really nice at level 80 as a snapshot item. And the rune forge I'm using is actually Rune of Sword Shattering. This is actually giving you 4% extra parry, and it also reduces the durations of disarm effects on you by 50%, which is really, really useful against the Tiger boss because he does have a disarm, and you need to have a weapon on so that you can use Death Strike and heal yourself. Now, there are two major specs we can do for doing the solo. This one was sent to me by Sweaty Gooch, and I believe he got it from Zeroji. I'm not 100% sure, but the solo farm build, that's an Unholy into Blood build. This is for if you have a lot better gear, and you will take a lot more damage, but you will also output a lot more damage. The main things you're getting from the Blood Tree is improved Rune Tap, which gives you a 30-second CD that just heals you by a ton. Also, you're getting Bladed Barrier, which is making you take quite a bit less damage. You do have extra attack power from Bladed Armor and also Death Rune Mastery. But then from there, everything else is in the actual Unholy tree. You do have a permanent Ghoul. You also do have Bone Shield, although you will actually just lose Bone Shield all the time. I'm not sure how useful Bone Shield itself will be. And then most of the talents in this spec are basically to do more damage. Things like Necrosis, Blood-Caked Blades. You do have Epidemic. I think Epidemic is just kind of crucial because you don't want to use more of your runes to just keep your diseases up. Instead, you want your diseases to last longer and then just refresh them with Pestilence with your Glyph. And then also you do get 5% extra dodge from Anticipation. Now, I actually don't think I have enough gear to use this build. You take quite a bit of damage, and if you misplay at all or use a rune in the wrong time or use a CD in the wrong time, you can end up dying quite easily on this farm because it's actually not the easiest one to do. So this spec I theory crafted with stream, which also actually came based off of the Blood Furnace solo farms from /oom, so make sure you check out his YouTube channel because he's doing some phenomenal stuff over there. This is the spec we actually theory crafted for people with less amazing gear to make sure that you can just live a lot longer. Things that'll really help you for living longer are things like Vampiric Blood being a 1-minute cooldown. Every other rune tap, you can use it with Vampiric Blood, and this is really when the bosses hit you really hard. I'll get into it, but both of the bosses have some really big damage dealing abilities. Also, we have Mark for Blood, which absolutely, if you use it, you want to save it for when you're going to die, but if you use it, you're pretty much instantly going to be healed all the way up. so you will not die. We do again have things like Bladed Barrier, obviously Rune Tap, but now we're actually looking at things like Bloodworms. It's just kind of up for you to decide if you actually think Bloodworms is better for you. I use it because you get a lot of self-healing out of the Bloodworms, and also these bosses will sometimes turn around and DPS the Bloodworms. That can be good and bad depending on the situation. And then Improved Death Strike, which will give you a lot more healing, and also I personally really like Heart Strike. You actually do have quite a bit of damage in this spec. It's really nice, and make sure you get Anticipation into Epidemic again so that your diseases last for longer. As for glyphs, the ones I'm using are Glyph of Death Strike and Glyph of Disease. Death Strike just gives you extra damage. Disease is absolutely vital right now, but you can actually switch it up. You could use Glyph of Vampiric Blood, or if you're using any of the other specs, you can use any other glyph that just gives you a little extra damage. So we're going to start off by looking at Bloodlord Mandahir. This is the Raptor boss, and there's a really easy thing you can do to kind of cheese this boss. He's a lot harder to do if you fight both him and the Raptor mount at the same time. It's a lot harder. I just cannot stress that enough. The Raptor actually does a Sunder Armor on you. So you can actually take this boss to this little corner, and if you walk the boss back, it's kind of glitchy because I didn't get it the first time, so you're gonna see me reposition in the background. But if you walk the boss back into this corner, you can actually get the little Raptor to bug out and fully go into the ground. You can see now he just disappeared. Now the Raptor is fully gone. Now the boss will fixate on you. He will do his fixate no matter what, especially because you're solo, and after that fixate, he will just do damage. So instead of doing anything else like trying to not DPS or not attack during this phase when he's fixated on you, just keep pumping through it. It doesn't actually help you at all. Then you're gonna wanna kite the boss all the way up on top of the actual normal starting zone where the boss is, all the way up this ramp, because he does do an AoE fear. From there, it's pretty simple. You're just gonna keep pumping through the boss. Make sure you keep up Horn of Winter on yourself. Make sure you keep up Bladed Armor. Other than that though, it's realistically a very simple fight, and it will take you a couple minutes. Just make sure you're using Death Strike as well as Pestilence to keep up your dots, and then just filling with actual Heart Strike as your damage dealing ability with your blood runes. And then also, if you take a little bit extra damage, just blood tap. If you get really low, which will kind of happen because he does have a Mortal Strike. Both of these bosses have a Mortal Strike and some sort of stun ability. If that happens to you, you can use your oh shit buttons, which are Vampiric Blood and Mark for Blood. So you want to always save these as much as you can, and then just kind of use them as a savior button. But once you glitch out the Raptor, this boss is pretty much a tank and spank. It's extremely easy. You just need to get the Raptor into position. That's the only scary part. Thekal, the Tiger boss, is a lot harder. There is one mob with him that will always be healing. You always want to make sure you interrupt that heal because you have to kill all three of these bosses at the same time. I personally also make sure to deal with the little tiger mobs first because they're a lot easier to kill early on, and they do actually do quite a bit of damage to you. The one that you want to make sure you set focus on and make sure you're interrupting is this one right here, Zealot Lord Lorcan. You don't need to tank this boss in any sort of corner or against a wall. Sometimes it will glitch out. And actually, one thing that happened to me was when I summoned my pet to sacrifice my pet and heal myself earlier on, when I was tanking it over here in this corner, I actually had the pet like summon underneath the world, and it just fully glitched the boss out for so long. The boss just kept healing and just kind of targeting it and healing. But the one thing I was talking about earlier with Bloodworms that's not as amazing is that this boss can actually gouge you, and then the boss itself will just go and attack all of the Bloodworms. This can happen at the same time as Zealot Lord Lorcan is casting a heal, so it can make it impossible for you to get out of those heals. I like the Bloodworms because it just added more healing to myself. I felt more safe with my current gear, but I don't think you really need it. Also, you just saw me scroll over the actual Mortal Strike. This does a ton of damage to you, and what you want to do is actually make sure you're holding onto your Blood Strike until right after this is over. Use your big CDs to full heal yourself only in scary situations. You do want to stay above 50% HP because he can hit you extremely hard with this Mortal Strike move. There might be a time where you just get really unlucky and just need to use some CDs to heal yourself back up. And that's totally fine. take your time with this fight. Again, during phase 1, you do need to kill these bosses around the exact same time. It's around 15 seconds, I believe, for them all to die, or else you'll get like a resurrected thing. I'm not playing Unholy, so I don't have a pet myself to control to try to pet bug these out. That is a thing you apparently still can do, is bug out this boss, and so that you only have to fight the main boss himself. The other scary things about this boss in phase 1 are 1, that knockdown, 2, that huge damage he does with his Mortal Strike, and it's a big combo. 3, obviously the heal, to watch out for that heal, and then also the gouge. And then lastly, there is a disarm, which we talked about earlier for why you are running the Rune Forge that you are. Once you kill all of the bosses and bring them down, you will have to deal with phase 2. Now, phase 2 is, at least at most points, a lot easier than phase 1. The boss pretty much can't kill you. He will summon some ads, some just tiger ads. I just turn down and kill them, but during phase 2, he pretty much does almost no damage to you. He does have a mini knockback. That's why I'm positioned kind of against a little bit of a cliff right here, so that his knockback doesn't knock me into any other ads or anything like that. But it's a really simple kind of tank and spank. Towards the end of the boss, though, he does enrage. When he's enraged, he does hit you a little bit hard, but realistically, it's not that scary, and he does have ads. I chose actually to just burn down the boss and not worry about any of the enraged ads. And I was able to do this also on my lower geared characters, not just the character with full Season 4 gear. So this boss is absolutely something you can farm on any of your characters. As a bonus, I wanted to see if I could actually farm Ataman the Huntsman solo in Karazhan, so that I could get that mount also. Well, unfortunately, I actually wasn't able to do this solo. He does a little bit too much damage to you, him and his pet, and also the curse that they put on you makes it so that it's a lot harder for you to heal, because it makes it so that you can't hit actually. You do need an invisibility potion to get here, but it's actually something that's not too hard if you do it as a duo. So when Kekarita came in with me from stream earlier today and helped me do this, I actually went full Frost Spec to make it go a lot faster, and just was in Frost Presence, as well as was using Death Strike instead of Obliterate to add some extra healing. This was really quick, really easy, and there was never an issue of running low on mana. And that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you all for watching. This is everything you really need to know. The specs, the gearing, all of the tips and tricks for actually solo farming your ZG mounts. I will absolutely be farming these on stream myself for my DKs as often as I can. So if you want to watch me on stream, of course, just come hang out. Again, massive thank you guys so much for the support. I genuinely, I cannot fathom the support lately, and it is blowing my mind. So tomorrow again will be the giveaway of the level 70 boost. Also just like the pets, the mounts, actually the 1 month of game time, everything you get from that actual giveaway. So that will be tomorrow. And again, at the next 5,000 subs, we will do a giveaway of the very first edition of some new limited edition merch. Thank you guys so much. Oh my God, thank you guys so much. Good luck out there, and I will see you all on the next one. I forgot to mention that to get in the raid itself as a solo player, all you need to do is just run this script right here, and then you can just zone in yourself. Just keep spamming this script on a macro, and I will have this in the description as you zone in and zone out.